How did the Atlantic Charter influence the United Nations formation after WW2? Have you ever wondered how a simple declaration could shape the future of global cooperation? The Atlantic Charter, issued in August 1941 by United States President Franklin D. Roosevelt and British Prime Minister Winston Churchill, was a key moment in history. This document was not a formal treaty but a joint declaration that outlined shared ideals for the post-war world. The Charter emphasized important principles like self-determination, territorial integrity, economic cooperation, and collective security. These ideas became the foundation for the international cooperation that the United Nations would later embody. The Atlantic Charter outlined 8 key points, including the rejection of territorial expansion and the right of all peoples to choose their own government. It also called for restoring the sovereign rights of those deprived by force and establishing a global security system against aggression. This vision directly influenced the declaration by United Nations in 1942, where 26 nations, including major Allied powers, committed to these principles while continuing to fight against Axis powers. This declaration marked the first official use of the term United Nations and represented a collective commitment to a new international order based on cooperation and peace. The Atlantic Charter's focus on a wider and permanent system of security anticipated the United Nations' main mission to maintain international peace and security. It also promoted economic and social cooperation, which became essential to the United Nations' broader goals of development and human rights. The ideals of the Charter were widely accepted by Allied governments in exile and other nations, reinforcing a shared vision for a post-war world governed by law and mutual respect. At the San Francisco Conference in 1945, where the United Nations Charter was drafted, the principles of the Atlantic Charter were reflected in the structure and purposes of the United Nations. The legacy of the Charter can be seen in the United Nations' commitment to sovereignty, self-determination, and collective security. It also influenced the organization's efforts to promote international cooperation on economic and social issues. The Atlantic Charter influenced the formation of the United Nations by providing a clear statement of Allied goals for peace, security, and cooperation after World War II. It served as a moral and political foundation that guided the creation of an international organization dedicated to preventing future conflicts and promoting global stability. This connection makes the Atlantic Charter a key milestone in the global restructuring that followed the war and the birth of the United Nations.